Okay, so we're getting there. We're already working all the way through here. I need to remove a lot of material here for the front of the legs and the front of the horse, so we just might as well rip into this and get, whoop. I forget this is only a 110 lathe. I've got the 3 horsepower Matic, so I've been known to really lean into the cuts. So now when we get going on this, we're going to want to kind of sneak up on some of these dimensions, because once you take material away, it's gone. So you might have to change your design a little bit, or when I did this to our club, one of the guys says, well, if you make a mistake, just take your template and with the scissors and cut it to fit with your mistake. And like, oh, okay. All right, I'm coming up right underneath the muzzle now. And we may have to find a different spot for those so we can find them. All right. So, again, now I'm going to use my bow gouge. I'm going to ride the bevel. I'm just going to get rid of some material here. I've got the tool against my body, and I'm just kind of moving my legs to get the tool to cut and move where I want it to move. Okay, let's just stop and see where we're at right now. So, okay, I can see the front of the nose here. That's good. If I fold that over, it looks like that's coming in. I got a lot of material to remove here, probably 3/8 of an inch or something like that. So I know I got plenty to work with here coming in, and I'm going to come up underneath the muzzle here, but everything else seems to be fairly in line, so we need to take more material away here. Once I get into the cut, I just kind of let the tool do the work. And I'm just sort of pivoting across to make this arc. I think I'm going to come up underneath the muzzle right here. I can define that a little bit better. When I come into all this material here, I don't want to take it all in one chunk, so I'm just going to whittle away at it a little bit. Okay, let's see how that does. So, okay, I've got enough material away here. This needs to be a little bit taken away right there. So, otherwise that's going to come in okay, I think. All right. All right. And there is a lot of starting and stopping with this, so you always want to stop and make sure you're on track here. So that curve is right. We got to go a little bit more and just tighten up a little bit in here, so, but we're almost there. I need to take a little more off of this, and that's, I think I'll take another sweep down on this bottom part, and we should be there. And I think the bottom of that muzzle might be just a little bit thick, so I'm gonna, when I get to the end of this cut here, I'm just gonna close the flute. This is the flute. This is open, this is closed. I'm gonna close the flute, use this bottom wing to just do a little draw cut to just thin out the bottom of this muzzle, just a hair. So this is just sort of a scraping cut to get underneath there. Seemed like that was a little bit tight. And then a horse's nose isn't at a sharp angle like this, so again, I can use that same technique where I'm using the lower wing and keeping the flute closed. And I'm just gonna just soften that muzzle a little bit right there. And again here, the angle, I'm gonna check that right now, so. All right, that's looking good. That's good enough for us guys. Everything's smooth. It's gonna come in really well. So basically, we're done with the front. So step number 1 is completed. That's right there. So now we're gonna go to step number 2, which is, can you see it on that one? Okay, so we're going to do step number 2 here, and so we're going to define where the legs are, but then we also are going to have to consider that we need to turn this around to do the top. So we're going to need to account for some sort of holding device. So I've got this chuck here with really deep jaws, and that's going to come into play. You'll see how that works. But as long as I know I have to get this chuck in there eventually, we might as well start with that for the next step. So I'm just going to close that up, take a measurement with my dividers, and we'll mark that out. All right. So when I use the dividers, I only touch this point here. I don't touch this point. This one just floats, and I'm trying to match where I'm hitting here to the other side to sort of get an idea of the dimension. I use these because I have a lot of different size chucks, and I'll just tune these up to whichever chuck I'm using. If you use the same chuck all the time, there's lots of different ways of doing this. But I like this, and I think I matched it pretty well there. So there's where it is. So let's just check that a minute. So here's the chuck I'm going to use. And I'm pretty close. If I leave the line, I should be right on. So now, to get rid of all, I need to get rid of a lot of material in there. In fact, I'm going to go back in there about 1.5 inches, 2 inches deep. I want to go all the way down so I cover all of those chucks, so that chuck's going to go way inside there. So we can measure it, but it's about that much. So it's just like digging out the inside of a bowl. So the way we dig out the inside of a bowl is with the bowl gouge. So for this part of it, I'm going to take this is the bevel, this is the part where you sharpen it, of course, and I'm going to aim that bevel straight towards the headstock, and I'm just going to come in And if I had, normally I do my cuts with about 45 degrees, open, 45 degrees, closed. So what I'm going to do with this, though, is I'm going to close the flute. If I had it at that 45 degrees, it would want to skate back on me. So I'm going to close the flute just to get it into the cut, and then I'm going to start removing material. So I head towards the headstock, I turn open the flute, and I rotate it around. So I'm going towards the headstock, open the flute up a little bit. I'm getting some skate back here already. I want to get in there and get a nice edge there, so when I open it up, I can roll the boat. So close the flute, push it in, turn it open right here with my right hand. I'm just turning it open. The chips start flying, and I roll the boat. In. I think my tool rest might be a little bit high. I'm getting a little skate back there, but I'm okay. I'm trying to just go straight down. I know I have to remove a lot of material, and the bow gouge is a good way to do it. Okay, so everybody knows the bow gouge, so let's put that away. And when I was doing and started doing these, I always was looking for a way that I could use carbide tools. And I'm a traditional guy, but I found when I was doing these projects and when I was doing end grain orientation, it was really hard to get in there and make the cuts. And I found that carbide tools really work well. Now this is called Simple Wood Turning Tools, the Simple Wood Turning Tool Company, and I think they're a Minnesota company. And this is basically what, like there's several brands out there. Rikon now makes one, and there's, what are the other ones? Easy Wood, that's the one. It's so easy, I forgot the name. Okay, so I'm just gonna go close to my line, and with these tools, and my tool rest is a hair high. All right, with these tools, I want to be held flat most of the time, and you get the tool rest fairly close. With this one, you can cut on the face and the side. So I'm just going to go straight down. I think that may be about as deep as I want to go here. This is a really handy tool too. Oh wow, I got another ½ an inch to go. Now we're getting kind of deep, so we're hanging off the tool rest quite a ways, but I got a long handle here so I can support that. All right, so I think we're getting close to our depth. We can still go a little more, but I want to make sure now that this will make it in there. It's probably too small, yep, okay. It's better to sneak up on it than, better to sneak up on it than to take too much too fast. So we'll sneak up on it here. So now I can use the nose of the tool and the side here to come straight down. I'm just going to get right up to my line, go straight in. And it's kind of hard to see in here, but I'm just getting rid of some of that extra material there. All right, so the chuck is going to go in there, and then we're going to turn it around. But later on, when we do the top, I need to find that chuck, and I want to find it by seeing it rather than find it with my tool. So I'm going to make a little window here. Uh-oh. Small lathe, demonstration, take it easy. So I think let's just take a little more out of that. And I want to be able to find that chuck without hitting the jaws, so that'll allow me to do that. So let's check this now. I brought my own compressor with. Yeah, I don't really need that too much yet, but when we turn it around, we definitely need it so I don't hit the chuck, but I'm good now. All right. Okay, that's exactly where I wanted it. So what I did is I did leave a ledge in there that the front of these jaws, the base of the jaws are going to hit hard on that ledge, and then I'll be able to expand into that recess. So that's the way the chuck's going in when we turn it around. So now, let's go ahead and put our legs in there. So we need a couple of guidelines. So what we have here is here's the two legs coming down, the belly comes in here, and the legs are tapered into the belly. So I'm going to go straight in to these 2 points and just remove some of that material right now. But a little guideline won't hurt. Okay, so I know I can just dive right into that and take away all this material. So for you tool junkies out there, I'll give you an opportunity to buy another tool. So here's a new one that I don't know how long it's been out, but this is made by Rikon, and it's sold at Woodcraft and maybe some of the other stores that carry Rikon. But this is a pretty heavy-duty tool. It's got a nice solid shank on it, and then it comes with a handle, and you get the 3 tools. So this is the square, let's get the round, and then you got the detailer there, which is the diamond shape. But this is a very good tool, so we might as well use that for going straight in to get rid of that material. Now, I could get in there with the bow gouge. I just have to say this, for you traditionalists, you could use a badan. And so this is I think it's a French tool, and it's angled in like this so that when you're diving into a smaller radius, the bottom of the tool doesn't kick the tool over as you're going in. So this is a really good tool, basically the same as this. And this one, I can use it, and when it's dull, I turn around and I sharpen it, and then I go back to it. Whereas this one, I can go and go and go, but then when I need to, when this one's dull, then I go, oh man, it's such a pain to take this off and put a new one in. I'll keep using a dull tool for a while, so I do that. And then when I go to put a new cutter in there, I forgot I got to ask the Amazon to send me another one. And so I wish I could just take this and sharpen it up, but this Badan, you can sharpen it up. Yes? How is that carbide different from the carbide you use? I'm told that and the Easy Wood can use the same cutter.
No, the one you cut for your tenon, use
this one?
Yeah.
I think that's a square cutter.
How is that different from this one?
This is a square cutter too. This is just a Rikon version of the same thing. Same thing. The Rikon has a little heavier shank on it, but yeah, different manufacturer. This is a traditional tool you can buy from Sorby or all over. So I'm just going to take some material away with this just to show you it can be done. But now, when you're using these tools, you're cutting with the burr. And you can feel that there's a little burr on the end of that. And so, generally, you're holding this tool flat, and you go into it, but you want to tip it down a little bit to get that burr to engage with the wood. And when it does, these type of traditional tools, they can self-feed. And they can also, if you don't have a grip on them, they can also flip across the shop. And when I was learning to use some of these scraper tools, I sent some tools across the shop. So now, I put that under my arm like this. I point my finger down at that, I put that under my arm, and that way I have good control over it. I can use my whole shoulder to kind of control how much it have, and then I have a lot more leverage on it. So when I approach this, I can just present that burr, and you can see how nicely it cuts. You know, little ribbons coming off. This is a scraper tool, but it's a cutting tool. So I'm just going to move some material out of here. And I love the Badan, it works really well. The only thing, if I was going to continue using this for this project, I want to put a bigger handle on it. So, but great tool. So that's your traditional, for your traditional guys, you can go out and buy a Badan, or if you don't have any Rikon tools, that's your excuse to buy another Rikon tool. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to go in with this one. We're just going to move wood. Don't mind me, I'm just in a hurry. What? Oh, sorry. Thank you. Do we need the light on here? I'll probably cover it with chips. I'm going to go a little bit deeper. I don't want that leg to have too short of legs, the horse to have too short of legs, so. One thing I do notice about this tool, you can see it's narrow here, and then it gets wider. And once I'm going into the cut like that, as it gets wider and wider, it wants to push my tool over. And you notice I'm getting little skips every now and then, and that's this pushing me over. So that's why I like the other tool with the straight shaft. That's good, but depending on what you're doing, once you get used to a tool, you can make it work. We've got long enough legs for our horse we're making today. Maybe a little more. He'll be faster if we give him a little longer legs. Okay, so now we just have to angle. So we're down here, we're down to the belly. We just have to angle now our legs. So we need some precise measurements. I think I'll use my micrometer and make some precise measurements here. About there and about there. It's 6.5.8 millimeters, so it should be right. Okay, so we're going to put that one away. One we haven't used yet is the most common one, and this is the easy wood. And this is really the bigger version with a real long handle, so you can really get down to business with this one. So I'm going to use this to cut the taper. And I'm going to take it in a couple of chunks. So I'm going from, I don't know, a little over 1/8 of an inch to 0 to get down to the belly. And now we go from this side. I'm not taking it all at once, but sneak up on it. So I'm using the side of the cutter when I go down the inside, but then once I hit the bottom, then I'm on the bottom, so I can use the bottom to kind of shape that belly a little bit when I get down there. So let's just make one more cut down there. I'm just going to roll across that belly a little bit. Make sure I got that pretty crisp. All right, I think that's coming along pretty good. Doesn't it look like a dollar horse already? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so that's the thing with these, you kind of have to think inside out. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, this is what we're doing. That doesn't look like a dollar horse at all, but we're going to probably get 12 to 14 dollar horses out of this when we're done. So I think, that's not, I'm gonna smooth that out just a little bit. I see that I got a little roughness. Oh, hey, time for another tool. Where are you? There it is. Okay, this is a kind of a box tool used for box, and it's a traditional tool. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in here, and it's hard to see, but there's a little roughness in that sidewall. So I'm just going to clean that up with this tool. And it's a big ask to have it go that far off there, but I'm just going to gently clean that up a little bit. And notice I wasn't taking much, I was just skimming it, but this is a great tool too for box scraping. I think Sorby makes them. So, all right. I think we're ready to turn that around. Okay, I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to take the faceplate off, and we'll turn it around. So, any questions at this point? We can talk while we're unscrewing this. This wood, it's got some moisture in it. But if it were really dry, that wouldn't bother me. I really like working with I like working with wet wood, so not a problem. Always pays to bring a big wrench with. If I need to, I do have a dead blow hammer too, but luckily we didn't need it today. Okay. So now the question was about whether it was dry wood or wet wood. And the rifle dryers in Germany, they use wet wood. And they'll keep them in a mill pond until they need them. Or they'll keep them like in a cool basement, so they keep the moisture in it. And of course, then they're using the end grain too. So you saw the pictures of the shops. They do some incredible peeling cuts, but they have a special tool for that with an angled handle on it, really long handle, and they can go right into the side and just do peeling cuts that wide with that tool. It's amazing. That's the tool that the guy didn't want me to look at because it was too top secret, I think.
Was there belts?
Did you see him when he kicked? It was like a rope, but he'd kick that out, and then he'd go in and kick it back on. So he'd kick it out, and it would just be idling there, and then he'd take a look at it and measure it. They keep their little tools in a pouch or their little patterns, and so then he'd see what he needed to do, and then he'd just kick that back on. He'd reach in there and kick it on, and away it'd go. And all that was run. That was all pretty historic stuff from the water wheel there and the whole thing. I don't know what he was using. I don't need to go that fast myself on here. I'm 750 to 800. I don't need to have a whole lot of RPMs, but if you're doing this with strictly scraping tools and stuff, sometimes you might want to go with more RPMs, or depending on if the wood isn't behaving, if it's maybe some spalted wood or a little soft, you might want to get your RPMs up or something like that, but yeah. So, now we're going to expand into that opening. I'm just going to nip this up a little bit and see how true that's running. I think that'll be all right. And if you wanted to, before you turn it around, you could do a little sanding in there too. We're not going to do any sanding today, but that's possible. I'm just going one side to the other side, just make sure this is going to hold tight. Feels good. So the first thing we need to do now is we'll just flatten this off. And I'll just use a bow gouge for that. With the bow gouge, for doing a flattening cut, I put my right leg forward and my back leg back and my left leg back, and then I'll put this up against my body, and I can move back and forth, but I'm only cutting with the tip right here, just off the tip. So if I was in here and I had this whole edge against the wood, that would be trouble. But since I'm out here, so the difference between getting a catch here and out here is about 4 or 5 inches. So I'm just going to cut with the tip. I'm going to roll it over about 45 degrees, and I'm just going to smooth this bottom out first of all. So I can take a little material away there. And my RPMs are a little slow now. It's running pretty true. A little bouncy out here. Okay, that's running pretty true up by the ear here. I might as well smooth that out a little bit too. All right. So now we just need to put some guidelines on here. So we're on to step number 3. So we've turned it around. And basically what we want to do now is we want the tip of the ear is right here. So we're going to go from there, down here, and then across the crest here where the mane is, and then down across the back and round it off. So I'm just going to put a couple of marks on here just so we can have a little bit to go by. So there's the bottom of the ear, here's the top of the crest, and here's where that transitions into the bottom. And you know, while we're at it right here, we might as well start finding our chuck. We haven't forgotten about our chuck, have we? No. All right, so let's put a mark on there. Okay. And I guess I'll just use the bowl gouge to get rid of some of that material right now. I lost my other bowl gouge, but luckily I have another 5/8 bowl gouge. This one's sharp. Oh, it was too close, it could have bit me. It was black, I couldn't tell, I thought it was a shadow. Put him back where he belongs. Okay. So, again, we're just removing some material here. When you get around to the, out here and out here, there's a lot of material moving inches per RPM, a lot of material going, but once you get in towards here, it's spinning at about 0. So a lot of times when you're coming into something like this, you really have to slow your feed rate down because it isn't really spinning that fast. A lot of times it'll just kind of break off. I usually get a little excited and go too fast down here. So I measured that, I know I'm searching, I want to find out where the outside of my jaws are there, and I'm going to dig on the inside later too, but let's go ahead and start to take some material here. I'm just going to start to make a curve there. I know that's got to go in a lot more, a lot deeper. Let me see. I think I'll go out the tip of the ear here. Somewhere there I had a line. Maybe that's it. Okay. And then somewhere in here, that's the top of the crest. And then it goes down from there. So I'm just sort of testing where those things are. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, right here. I like a bowl gouge because you can remove a lot of material fast. Okay. All right. Oh, I think our guy's got a little bit of a longer nose than he needed. And bigger ears. I need to come in here a little bit more. How are we doing on time here? Oh, we're okay. Okay. I think we can make it. Now, some of this, it gets a little tedious, but all of a sudden it's like, boom, okay, I'm there, that's good. So, you have to kind of hurry up and wait a lot. I'm going to go in towards that chuck a little bit. See, this one I can go straight in because that shaft isn't widening out to kick me out of the cut, so. Okay, let's see if we can roll that depth in a little bit more. All right, I know I have to come along and round out the backside, the rump of our horse here. Okay. I need to take material here right in there, and so we haven't used one with the round. We're going to use the round one now for this. I'm going to just back this area up a little bit, see if we can define that a little bit. This is really a good, they call it the finishing tool, and it really does quite a good job. If you don't have some crazy grain, it seems to do a pretty clean job. So it's another one to consider. I'm going to come in on that ear, just a hair, and I still need to bring that back a little bit more. Define that ear a little bit. Do a little scraping cut across the crest there. Okay, so right here, you can see we need to get a little deeper right there, and we need to move this back a little bit. So here, so let's see where we're at here. So right here, I need to take some material away. I'm right at the top, so. Half the time it's kind of like you get this in your head, and then by the time you find the tool and you get after it, it's like, wait a minute, where did I want to take material away? You can see how with this tool you can just kind of sneak up on it. And you can move the tool back and forth, so if you have 1 foot forward and 1 foot back, you can use your body to do it, and my tool rest is just a hair high right now. Okay, that's getting in there. Okay, I think it's time for one more cut. No, don't do one more cut. Well, we have to. You know, when you go through the bottom of the bowl and you took that one last cut, the way to get around that is don't do the last cut. Determine that, okay, 3 cuts from now will be my last cut, and then only take 2. All right. It looks like we're there. So now, the fun part, we have to find our chuck without hitting it. So, let's see how that goes. Actually, I can move this tool rest in a hair more now. Um, it's a, that would be a good idea. I haven't done that. I'll be drilling a hole with that. Okay, I just want to be cutting on the center line here so I don't get tossed around. All right. I'm just going back and forth, and I'm just going from tip to tip to try to dig that hole. You could, whoop, wait a minute, I'm through. I didn't hear that telltale hollow sound. But that went past. So anyway, we found the chuck. That's good. Let's see if I can get that piece out of there. Well, it'll come out. But now, you can see the chuck in there, and I know my chuck jaws are out here, so I can get rid of some of this material, open that up, so I can see what we're doing in there a little bit. Ah. Okay, and I know that I can take away some of this material also, because I know where the chuck is, so I can get within about 3/8 of the chuck or something. And just want to kind of blend that in across the rump. Okay, we got a little bit there. I'm just going to use my bowl gouge on the side, do a scraping cut. Okay, can we see in there a little bit? All right, so now that I've identified that, I'm going to move that chuck out of the way so I don't hit it. So, and I'm going to bring it out to where the dovetails normally would come in. Let's see how that's running. All right, that's pretty good. All right, I'm just going to nip that up. And we'll round that and make the transition from the rear end to the legs. and we'll see what we have. So now, I'll just use my bow gouge in here. That wants to catch a little bit in there, so go back to, how about the big boy? Sure. Okay, let's take a good hard look at that now, and maybe you can see it on the camera. But right here where my finger is, that's where the chuck was settled. The bottom of the jaws were settled on that point. So from there down, that's good. So I just need to take material away from the rump down to there and smooth that out, and we'll have it. The small radius, the bottom of the tool here wants to kick me out of the cut, so I may grind that off a little bit for some of these tighter areas. Let's blow that off. I think I'll use this one. This will keep me out of the way, I hope. Don't like the way that's cutting. Oh, here's a tool. I bought this in siphon. Sharp there, sharp there. That's what I need for inside here. Nice and flat, holds on to the edge of it. I'll just clean that up. And realistically with these, I mean, if you made a big mistake, it wouldn't be the end of the world because you're going to cut them up into a bunch of horses and you're going to do a lot of hand carving anyway. So your hand carvers would love to get some of these dollar horses from you. So I think we're going to call that good. We're up running overtime. I don't know what time it is. We're good? Okay. So at this point, you could sand it up, do a little extra this and that. You could go back and recheck everything and, you know, do a little, take your detail gouge out and really crisp up some of the angles and so on. But I think this is pretty good, so let's see how it turned out. The proof is in the bandsaw. So, yep, so exactly, that's a very good, the question was, did the Germans use they would use just, it looked like a sharpened up butter knife. And this right here is in end grain orientation. and they would just take a butter knife and hold that on there with a little bit of a hammer and just pop these off. There's one, pop that off, and there's the other one. And their rings were a lot bigger so that they would be getting 40 to 60 animals out of that bigger ring. When we're doing them, we have to allow for a wedge being taken out of there and then cut parallel and another wedge taken out of there so that we can keep the horse's rump from getting too small. So, all right, let's cut this one in half. Where did it go? My horsey wants to run already. So any other questions while we're cutting this in half? Menards. Okay, usually now the grain is running this way, so I'll take my first cut right through along the grain. And we need to lower this down a little bit for safety. And this worked before, so let's see if it'll, good, okay. So with the bandsaw, this is a meat cutter. You don't want to take a finger off with this bandsaw. So what a lot of people do is they're back here, they got a dull blade in here, and they're pushing and pushing and they're pushing, and if something happens, they're going right into the saw. So my best advice with a bandsaw, put your right foot forward, put your left foot behind it, and then if something happens, you're balanced, all right? So then you can use your body to move it in, and then the other thing, don't have your fingers in front of the blade. Keep your hands away from the blade, keep them out to the side. So we're going to just start cutting this. So as I get through, I'm going to put my hands behind here so my hands are behind the blade. That way I won't hurt them. Okay, now we're going to take that up front for the big reveal. Don't anybody look. All right, so nobody knows what it is. We don't know what we're making here. You work all day and you just don't know what you're going to get. Are we on camera? Here we are. It looks like a horse. Okay, a dollar horse. So there you go. Now, I have a little fundraiser for the club here. And in this bag, I have dollar horses ready for carving. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a dollar for a dollar. So if you put a dollar in here, then you can have a dollar horse. So I'm going to put these, where should I put them? Right over here. We'll put them right there by the bench. So it's a dollar for a dollar. So what I'd recommend now is poke your friend next to you and say, hey, I don't have any change. Can you lend me $1? And then come up, put it in here, grab a dollar horse. And then all this goes to somebody, you can make sure you get this emptied out. All right, so that's it. Any other questions then? I'm going to hang around if you got questions on this or anything about Germany or whatever. So thank you very much.
All right, let's give it up for Dan.
Thank you.
And from a gracious donation of us, you get the very first one. Those are our new patches.
Awesome.
I do have a bag of them back there.
I know where it's going to go.
I think you have room. There's a lot of room.
Great, thank you very much.
And is there any woods you stay away from?
Yes, for this type of a project, knowing that you're probably going to be carving it later, like those red ones and that blue one there, those were out of the rings, and I hand carved those. So you want to use softer woods like butternut, American linden, which is basswood. Basswood's great. Even like box elder is pretty soft, so soft maple, all of those would be good. But like ash and oak, you can do it. You can cut them into the rings, but once you slice them up and make individual horses, they're really hard to carve. Now, what the Germans do for their carving, they'll chop them up with that knife and just pop them off like that. And then when they're going to carve them, they'll soak them overnight. They'll wrap them in a wet rag and soak them overnight. And then they put them in a boiling pot, a big boiling pot, and they'll boil them for maybe an hour or something. And then they'll dip them out of there. And you should see these guys carve. They're just like, zoop, zoop, zoop. I mean, and they can make one so fast. And it's just really soft, like carving butter, so.
So even for like, if you're doing power carving, then it doesn't matter really?
Power carving, like this was pretty dry. Like all of those are pretty dry. I use a lot of, like a Fordham tool for power carving, and then like your other rotary tools. But I've hand carved them all the way too. And there's kind of a nice look to that when you get all those chips out of there and you put a finish on it. It looks really good. So lots you can do with it from here on after. So, other questions? Yes.
We bought some tall horses in Sweden. Do you think they carve those individually, or do they do something like this?
Well, that's a great question. He's asking if these were from Sweden or they do this technique in Sweden. No, this is a German technique. At the Dalla factory in Dalarna, it's right near Mora, right in the center of Sweden. We went to one of the factories there, and they'll cut them out. They use a pattern and a scroll saw. Now they're starting to use CNC machines just to cut them out, but they're using flat boards. It's like flatware. So then they'll cut them out on a CNC and then carve them up. But they'll use a lot of sanding. They got big belt sanders and big spindle sanders and so on. And so they shape them and then they paint them right there in the factory. But yeah, so that's the Swedish way, just from flatwork, cutting them out individually. But the Germans, they were looking for something they could do in a mass production method so that they could make some money, because all the ore mining was done. They mined it all out, so they needed work. And they came up with this a couple hundred years ago. And so that's the German way of doing it. So, yeah, good question.
Anything else? All right, that concludes our meeting for today. Again, if you want to do the pens for snow days, I got the pen kits in the back, I got blanks in the back. We've got a airbrush kit
Yeah,
for
that's
bid.
just a simple note.
Other than that, yeah, we'll see you guys next month. Thanks for coming.